And cheers to all the juice heads out there. And welcome to Season 2, Episode 6 already. Getting over a cold. Nothing better than Grandpa's old cough medicine when you're getting over a cold. Welcome to the 6 extravaganza. That is the DrinkAlong, the Smackdown and Rampage DrinkAlong with a special start time of 9:30 like last week. Last week was an experiment. This week is on purpose because this week we have Grand Slam Night 2 coming up, and we want to bleed into some good stuff. And again, we're not AEW dick lickers. We're not people that just shit on the WWE. We just call it like we see it. So on that, cheers and salute. As we say here in our fake Italian. But no, we got a good show tonight. There's a lot of stuff to cover. Obviously, our SmackDown main event is going to be Montez Ford versus Roman Reigns, who, at this point, I think Michael Cole throughout the whole night. The good thing about not starting the show at 8 or even at 9 is that I started watching SmackDown like 20 minutes ago and ingested all I needed to catch up to where we're live now at 9:30. But how many times has Michael Cole said in one night, Roman Reigns rarely wrestles on SmackDown? No fucking shit. He's a main event guy. And this is, again, more of the knee jerk-off reaction. That's my phrase. I should patent and trademark it. But go ahead, feel free. Knee jerk-off reaction. Don't blow your load too short. But seriously, Montez Ford versus Roman Reigns, just as a fantasy booker, should be a good match. It should be a nice... I don't know if you want to call it David versus Goliath because of the size difference. Call it whatever you may. But I think it's going to be good. The things that are going to make it not good, A, Michael Cole, B, the camera work, and C, that it's within the WWE. And I hate to say that. But despite those three things they have working against them, they might be able to pull off what could be a classic match. And again, this is all knee-jerk reaction to Grand Slam. We know this. AEW went from being a joke to being something that's starting to make them sweat, like Rodney Dangerfield over here. That was not a good Dangerfield impression at all. As you can tell, I've had to have a couple already to watch SmackDown as it is. Let's hear Becky. Becky's talking, so let's roll it to her.
Scared of someone I can beat in 26 seconds? No. But this time, I'm gonna make you suffer. There is no terrible way.
That's a credible threat.
There is only winning. And at Extreme Rules, I'm not just gonna beat you, I'm gonna break you.
And I love Becky Lynch, but we've beaten this dead horse with a stick many of times on the show since SummerSlam. She had no right. Well, again, when I say she, I mean in storyline, not Becky Lynch the person. Becky Lynch had no right in 26 seconds beating anybody at SummerSlam. Or let me take that back, not anybody, but beating Bianca Belair. And while we're on that topic, it's not even on my notes. I do have a fresh page of notes for the night to go over, so don't worry. It's not just going to be my bad commentary during a live watch. But where's Sasha Banks been? I've been watching actually a lot of Entourage, and Juice heads out there, if you've been watching Entourage, I'm on season 7 right now, where Vinny Chase goes on his bender, and he dates Sasha Grey, and I keep wanting to call her Sasha Banks. Like, that's how much the world has changed. Since I guess that was 2010 was season 7 of Entourage. So basically in the last 10, 11 years, the main Sasha in my life went from being Sasha Grey to Sasha Banks. But it's just funny. Like, whatever happened to Sasha Grey? I know she tried going mainstream. And she actually is a pretty talented actress and artist. I don't think she has a problem making money doing non-porn related things, as we're getting the Roman I like this ring announcer. I think he does a good job. Montez Ford doing in the ring. Like an athlete. I like it. But again, this comes down to bad writing because essentially what happened was, if you weren't watching, Montez Ford called the Usos a couple of bloodline bitches. And Roman Reigns was like to Paul Heyman, give me a match with him because he called my cousins bitches. Is it an improvement from like 5 months ago or a year ago? Yeah. But still, creative has to be a little more creative than just that. It would have been cool if like there was some tension between the two tag teams and one of the Usos went over the line in a physical way to provoke Montez Ford to do something worse. And then that's where Roman steps in. Just be a little more creative. I mean, you could do anything. Fill in the blanks. But, my God, I'm tired of just because you call somebody a name, that causes a match or a feud. Or if Cesaro swings somebody too many revolutions, it causes a WrestleMania match. I love the match, by the way, between Cesaro and Seth at WrestleMania. I just hate the reason why Seth was mad with Cesaro, why they had their issues with each other. Just make it more credible. I'll never stop saying realism is a good thing, even in this world. Extreme Rules will be streaming live on Peacock. And Roman does look great. So this will be a good match. You'll get some of my famous play-by-play that I love to do. And look, I had to have cocktails the first 90 minutes of SmackDown to get through it, even though I only watched it for 20 minutes to get to this point. However, we have Grand Slam coming up, Grand Slam Part 2 in 23 minutes. So what does Punk do? Like all this fucking stuff. Let's get that going. And let's get to the name of the show here. I always like to name my shows a creative name. And this show I appropriately titled EvaLution Sinks Raw Grand Slam Draws. Pretty simple. I always wanted to know, or really didn't care to know, but since I'm doing a podcast about it, my podcast self wants to know, what the hell is an EvaLution? I understand the play on words. Let's take the word evolution. Let's replace a couple of vowels in that word, and you get Eva Marie's name in the word. I get it. Didn't they do EvaLution? And it was supposed to be like the same angle or gimmick or whatever the fuck you want to call it. And I don't even know what the fuck the EvaLution was, because that lasted for what, 1 week with about 3 months of hype for something nobody knew what the fuck they were doing with. And they're still calling it EvaLution. But the only thing that's evolved on her is the age of her plastic surgery. Don't get me wrong. Me and Eva Marie are about the same age, if my research is correct. And I'm nowhere near as good looking as she is as a guy. I'm nowhere near as guy good looking as she is girl good looking. And I'm nowhere near as in guy fit as she is in girl fit, or just overall human fit. But what is the EvaLution? And is the opposite of that supposed to be the dewdrop? And what is a dewdrop? Is that supposed to be like when you're taking a dump and the dew drops out of your butt? into the toilet? Is that supposed to be what a dewdrop is? Because that's like what I thought that they meant. I loved Piper Niven, or Piper Niven, however you pronounce it. I think it's Piper Niven, but I could be wrong. When they did the like the woman's version of the CWC on the network, I forget what they called it, but it was like the underground women's tournament thing that they did. Like I think it was 4 years ago. They just did it once, and I remember good old JR was on it. And I think maybe even Beth Phoenix was the other commentator, or Renee. One of that. I could be wrong. I know JR was definitely one of the commentators. And I thought it was very well done, and I enjoyed it. And instead of having like an all-women's show or an all-women's pay-per-view, that's, I think, where the money is in an all-women's WWE presented product. Just like with the cruiserweight division, it's such a niche thing. This isn't Nitro versus Raw in the mid to late 90s anymore, where the cruiserweights were kicking Raw's ratings asses on Nitro. The Cruiserweight Classic was fucking awesome. The Cruiserweight Classic was one of the best things they presented that year. Not just on the WWE network, but in the whole year of all of the WWE products and shows. Whether it be on cable or on the network or on pay-per-view. So why not? This is where they lose me. You're doing something good that worked, that was very well received. Why not more of that? And instead, what do? We're going to create NXT UK that nobody cares about. I'm sorry. I love Pete Dunne, and he's just regular NXT. So he's not, he was like maybe on the first couple NXT UK things, but nobody cares about NXT UK. So why not more shows like the CWC, where it's like presented in a shoot style, right? They had to shake each other's hands. Why not more shows? I forget what they called the women's version of the Cruiserweight Classic. It may have involved a name that they had to later edit out. I don't know. I just straight up forget what they call it. I remember it was like a very light baby blue color for the name of it. They used like the baby blue, I think. Unless I'm mixing that up with EvaLution. Another Lucian. Not to be confused with the faction EvaLution. Or was that a stable? I think it was the faction. Somebody please tell me the difference. Because I think I know. And then the other night, I heard somebody use the word faction like I thought stable meant. So, anywho, let's check in on SmackDown. Montez Ford looks like he's getting his ass kicked, by the way. Roman's literally got him on the ropes doing a chokehold. That's right. The Demon we will see on Sunday. More knee jerk off reactions, right? The Demon. And again, they tried explaining the Demon last week. It doesn't need to be explained. When it's a special occasion, he's the Demon. If it's a regular occurrence, he's Finn Balor. It doesn't need to be explained. And as a matter of fact, the unexplained makes it more mysterious, therefore, in my opinion, more interesting. 10 shots by Roman, and the crowd counted. Roman just did like baby face kind of thing where you get the 10 shots and all right, nice chop by Montez. Another nice chop. I'll tell you what, I've never seen so many chops in like a 2-week span as I've seen. The other night on Grand Slam Part 1, I mean, it was chop, 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 chop. If these guys don't mind taking them, give them all day. It doesn't do anything for me. It's just another move. But, I mean, look out for each other a little bit. I'm not a wrestler. Again, I'll always say I never had the balls to be one. But protect yourselves a little bit. You don't want to be... Wow, Montez just stepped on the table and it broke. Wow. That was the move of the night. And I don't even blame Montez. I blame whoever gimmicked that fucking table. He took one step on it, and it broke like a video game glitch. Holy shit. And Roman just threw Montez up like a guy making a pizza. I would have loved to have seen an uppercut to follow that up. But there's 15 minutes to go. Wow, Superman. I thought that was a Superman punch, but Cole called it a running flying clothesline. This is when he threw him up. They're taking another look at. I can see this match going another 15 minutes on SmackDown. And again, we all know SmackDown really ends about 3 minutes before 10 o'clock p.m. But even 10 more minutes, I couldn't see. So, I thought Raw overall, and by the way, I should mention this in the beginning, this is not a recap show, it's not a preview show, it's not a review show, I don't rate matches, I'm just a longtime fan, about 3 decades worth of fandom right here. So it's just a different take on stuff than maybe you're used to. Maybe you like my style of podcasting, maybe you hate it. It's all good. Because I enjoy doing it. I like to talk about it. And these are the things I think about. And maybe these are the things that the other podcasters don't think about or talk about, or maybe things that you don't think to think about. Anywho, or maybe they are, and I'm just wasting my fucking time. No, seriously, even if I only have one listener or one viewer, it's worth it to me because I enjoy doing this. Forgive me, I am coming over a cold, so my voice is a little come and go. It's my first time talking this much in about 6 or 7 days. Wow, AEW's playing a commercial for the Cody Rhodes reality show on SmackDown. Good for them. WWE's got to fire back. They can't take this crap. And if I remember correctly, Cody just he didn't quit the WWE. He just let his contract expire. And they were like, "Oh, okay, go on the indie circuit." Well, he did. And anywho, enough said. My second note I have for this show is a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. And that's true in all aspects of life. But especially true because I do want to say, and I'm going to obviously be skipping around a little bit. I did not watch Raw live. I rarely do, especially now that it's football season. I pretty much never will. I liked what I saw for the most part. But again, this Eva Marie crap, this women's division crap, this Alexa Bliss crap, and I love Alexa Bliss. But what did they do? They teamed her up with Bray Wyatt, essentially gave her the Sister Abigail role without calling her that, and then they fire Bray Wyatt. And this is nothing... I'm not shitting on Alexa Bliss because Bray Wyatt got fired. I'm just bored with it. As a fan, I like regular, Harley Quinn Alexa Bliss. And I know you got to change it up, do different things. But if you're going to go campy, I think they went the correct amount of campy with Bray and The Fiend. And I think they're missing the mark creatively with how they're handling the Alexa Bliss situation, in my opinion. So that's why I choose to fast forward through her segments. Although I do love her. I think she's a doll. Excuse me. But it's a bit much, in my opinion. And again, that doesn't excuse all the other shit segments. But I did really like that in the first match, and it was either 2 or 3 weeks ago on the show, I begged SmackDown to open up with the title match with Roman Reigns defending the belt. And they waited till the last segment for that match. And we sort of talked ourselves off a ledge along the way. I think that was like an 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock show while we were here watching the whole show live. Now on Raw, what did they do this week on Raw? They kick it off with champion versus champion, if I remember correctly. I didn't take notes during Raw, going off my memory here. But if I remember correctly, Lashley ended up kicking the shit out of both champions, and I liked it. I liked it because I felt like Lashley's reign as the WWE champion was cut short. And while he's pissed off at the guy that cheaply took the belt off of him, why not assault the other brand's version of the champion? I was really happy about this. I really enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it too. Why do we care? Because this can be a really compelling triple threat angle if they continue to do this well. I thought what they did on Monday night was really, really well done. Like Timothy Well and Stephen Dunn. If you know, you know. And if you don't, no big deal. With that said, they're probably going to fuck this up. But if they don't, it's a win for us, the fans. All right? Now let's get back to SmackDown Live. Looks like Montez Ford is making some sort of a comeback. Roman just like bitch slapped him. Buys him some valuable time to regroup. Looks like Montez had the upper hand for a little bit. While we got SmackDown on, let's plug our show on Twitter.
He's going to leap up over the top rope. Roman Reigns rolling out of Hobbs' way. Now Montez Ford in the kick. Right to the champion. Roman Reigns driven into the steps. And now an aggressive Montez Ford.
That's what we do here. We just sit and plug on Twitter.
Looking ahead up top. Can Montez Ford come out of the heavens to take out Reigns from the heavens?
Oh, almost a nice frog splash by Montez. Now he's caught in a guillotine. It's just too early for this match to end. We know the match is not going to end for another 2 minutes at least. Oh, he tapped out. Look at that. I'm wrong live on air. But what I'm curious to see, because like I said, it's 9:54 now. How are they going to fill the next 4 minutes? Because they're going to go off at 9:58, 9:59. So I am curious to see how they kill this time. It's the opposite of this podcast. We're not killing time. We're having fun. Time's flying by. Somebody already liked my tweet. Plug in the podcast. Boom. Cheers. All right. And when Paul Heyman speaks, we must listen.
I counsel you to show Montez Ford Vinny Power, the demon, and even Brock.
no matter how bad the WWE can get, and I'm not saying this is bad at all, but no matter how bad the WWE gets or can get, at least they got fucking Paulie.
Remember Sunday. It is extremely.
I think that's something, and I think that should count for something. And Paulie can take the worst writing, and he can at least do something with it. And you could tell it's bad writing, and he's not the greatest actor in the world, but his job isn't to be an actor. He's a manager, and here come the Usos. But Paulie can take shit and make it into something worth watching. And that's, you know, I say I'm a 3-decade fan. He's like a 5-decade performer, if not more. If not, I might be mistaken. It might be more, at least 5 decades of performing and working. All right, they got 2 more minutes to kill. Montez is just getting beat down with the chair. Wow. The nice part about doing the podcast and not watching Smackdown 100% is that I'm looking at me to make sure that the picture of the podcast on YouTube looks okay. And so I don't have to see like angle. And they haven't offended me, but I haven't been paying complete attention. But they haven't quite offended me with like cutting every like 3 to 5 seconds and giving me fucking vertigo. Looks like the demon is coming out. Let's see what happens. Or let's see what happens. I think the demon has slightly different music on the intro. Oh, he just showed up like, I was going to say Aleister Black, but Malachi Black. Excuse me again. Hold on. Sorry about that, folks. I didn't mean to cough in your ear. All right, he's got a kendo stick. I heard those really hurt, by the way, as a shoot. They certainly make a noise. That's for sure. He looks cool tonight as a demon. He's got almost like the Kane lighting. And he's got tassels like the Ultimate Warrior. Looking cool. Just did a nice over-the-top, I guess, cannonball to the outside to Roman Reigns is what you would call it. Pretty strong ending to SmackDown. So we were wondering about that. So yeah, 9:58, and they're going off the air. Like I wonder why they can't stay on till 10. Maybe it's got something to do with being on network TV, and they want that 60 seconds to do a commercial or something. All right, so we know what time it is. It's time to turn to who? TNT. So that's what we shall do. And while we're doing that, let's get to the next topic here. I call him Braun Steiner. Obviously, his name on the show is Braun Breaker. And you know what? I wasn't for sort of an NXT reboot. And I've already expressed my disinterest in anything being called 2.0 this day and age in 2021. Like, that's... I was just talking about decades earlier. Like, that's 2 decades ago where you call things 2.0 or whatever, 0.0. Like, that's dumb. Unless it's practical and it's like a software update. Because software still does update all the time. So you'll get a version 5.673. It happens. But he impressed me, especially knowing he's the nephew of Scotty, the son of Rick. And he looks good out there, and he looks like he belongs with the main eventers. He really does. And speaking of that, and again, not a recap show, I'm just pointing out what I liked about it. I liked that opening promo with Tommaso Ciampa in the ring with like some of the NXT 2.0 newbies, including Braun Breaker. And he teamed up that night in the main event in a tag team match. And I was really impressed. And I think he was using the Steiner recliner at one point. Solo Monster hates the name Braun Breaker. And I forget if he hated the Braun or the Breaker or both. I think it's actually a cool, like, Mortal Kombat kind of sounding name. But if the guy's a Steiner, I think I see it from two different ways. Because in the past, I've had family members in high places in certain areas that I didn't want to mention I was related to certain people because I didn't want favoritism because of that. But on the other hand, if you just told like an old school wrestling fan that was into the Steiners or even Big Papa Pump that, hey, Scotty Steiner's nephew is on NXT, it might pop a rating, like not crazy, not like Austin and Tyson crazy, but it might pop a little bit of a fucking rating knowing that. Now, with that said, I think he's doing a great job so far. And I think I said that already, but seriously, he is now a reason for me to want to watch NXT. All right, now we're at Grand Slam Night 2. Let's see what they have to say. This is a live watch-along after all. Oh, wow. They're opening with Punk. I better get this in fast then, because I had this as one of my last notes. Punk cut a hell of a promo on Wednesday night on Grand Slam Night 1. I'm not sure if this is live. I hope it's live. It could have been recorded Wednesday night. I don't know, but I hope it's live. I don't know the results either way. So for me, for all intents and purposes, it's live. But Punk's cut such an awesome promo on Wednesday night. And the way Bruce Pritchard on his podcast said when he talks about Hogan in the 80s, he used to sprinkle some of that Hulk dust. And we talked about Punk dust last week, but here it is, actually coming to fruition. And listen to this pop. So it's not just Chicagoland, and it's not just the Midwest. I think last week they were in Cincinnati, right? It's if you're a wrestling fan thing. I love that they're opening with this. I really thought they were going to make you wait till 11:30 because they're on for 2 hours tonight. So let's stay with this match. This gets my blood pumping. This is exciting that they're actually kicking it off with this. So I'll do my best Joe Rogan impression when Joe Rogan does his podcast watching the UFC live when he's not actually there. When he's, what does he call? He doesn't call it watch along. He calls it fight companion. So this is your wrestling companion. CM Punk doing the old school Brutus, going to sleep sign. Love it. And I like he did the match with like a bigger known guy, Darby Allin. I had seen Powerhouse Hobbs a couple times, but I'll tell you what, it's only because of Punk that I actually remembered his name. And I think there's an art to that. Because if this was the WWE, you would just be laying down for a younger guy like Powerhouse Hobbs to put him over. In AEW, as they proved the other night, this match could go Broadway. The punk chant is going nuts in the venue right now. But there's many ways to put people over. It doesn't just have to be 1, 2, 3 with your shoulders pinned to the mat. So interesting to see what happens here. Taz on the commentary. If this is Rampage, we should have Jericho, Excalibur. It sounds like Ricky Starks is on the panel as well. Punk with a nice drop toe hold. That is true. And let's just stop with the game plan stuff. You know, the other night Cody had a great match, which isn't on my notes. So let's talk about it now with Malachi Black, who ended up winning. He comes to the ring with Arn Anderson, and Arn Anderson comes with like the fucking, like he's an NFL coach with this thing, like he's got like plays for each like scenario, and it's like it makes for like a cool entrance, like student and pupil and coach or whatever, student and teacher, but they never, to my recollection, I haven't once ever seen them get into the corner and like kind of huddle up for a few seconds for like ring psychology purposes. Now they could have, and I've missed it. And if that's true, let me know. But I have not seen that. You know what I do see though? Arn Anderson always seems to get the shit kicked out of him. Like especially the other night. Now Hobbs is in there talking shit. Let's see what happens here. Still is a watch along.
No, Hobbs is actually very, very strong. One of the strongest wrestlers we have here at AEW.
He's their version of Big E. He basically wears the same ring gear, has the same physique. Don't know if he's got the same personality.
Fight his way back into this match, but a swift knee to the midsection by Hobbs neutralizes Punk. And
by the way, Punk back in his traditional tights or trunks, rather. As we know at the pay-per-view, he had like long pants on. Maybe Punk really was a little not nervous, but maybe he just wasn't at 110% in terms of confidence, like the way he was when he left the WWE. But you could see that match did a lot for him, and he's back there just by the way he looks, by the way he presents and carries himself. When he was saying this match is also to see if he still has it, I think he really meant that as a shoot. So we're seeing him tonight all in black. Obviously in the WWE, he wore a lot more white with the same kind of persona that he's doing now, which is basically himself, which was everybody's favorite iteration of him. I think we could all agree we like that much better than the straight edge society. Say that 10 times fast after 5 cocktails. Or straight edge. Shit, we're curved here. So, yeah, Powerhouse is having his way. Powerhouse is having his way with Punk, which, again, in a shoot, you would expect this with the size difference alone. So, in terms of watching this from a realism point of view, I like it. And Powerhouse just had Punk in that Mysterio position on the second rope and just gave him a nice bump. Well, we're not here plugging Popeyes. Although I heard it's very good. But anyway, before Rampage got kicked off, I was talking about Tommaso Ciampa and Scotty Steiner's nephew. But I just love that promo that Ciampa cut. And Ciampa's already expressed his disinterest in ever going to the main roster. And I think that's one of the reasons why he's still there. And I think that's one of the main reasons why they put the strap back on him. And he cut that promo with some fucking nice-ass conviction. The thing I've been asking Michael Cole to do on commentary for 20 years, this guy hits a grand slam the other night, not Cole, Ciampa, on the mic with like 5 or 6 other, we'll call them newbies for the sake of being new to being on camera on NXT. I don't think you're a newbie if you're on NXT. You're just a newbie to the TV world. But great fucking promo. And it wasn't so much what he said. It was his passion. I felt it. I felt what he was saying. I felt the words coming out of his mouth. He talked about all the days he didn't have that belt. And then he talked about all those days. And then on this day, I got the belt back. And he had his moment face to face with all the other guys in the ring. And I am recapping, even though it's not a recap show, but it was good. It's worth watching again. I did not watch it twice. There's very rarely anything I will watch twice these days that in terms of new wrestling content, even AEW. But that's worth watching twice. That was really good. Let's get back to the Punk match here. He's making a comeback, but he's punch drunk. Punk is technically not straight edge right now. He's punch drunk. But they're exchanging rights. Punk just caught him with 4 strikes in a row and a nice little spinning heel kick. Another kick. Now Punk with an Irish whip and another kick. But Hobbs right back up. And Punk with a swinging neck breaker. Damn it, he beat me to it. But good match. Good match. I believe this is Punk's first match in 7 years on TV. Or it's got to be more than that. He said 7. It's got to be more. Punk with like a standing clothesline. They didn't say that. I said that. What? Now, yeah, Punk is thinking about something. He's going to the top. Is he going to do the elbow drop?
CM Punk headed up to the top. Get up, Hobbs. What the hell? Will Hobbs, center of the ring. Punk.
Is he going to do the elbow drop?
What the hell's happening here?
He's putting his fingers up like Savage.
What the hell is he doing?
There it is. Now, in my mind, that should be a finisher. 1, 2. I don't like that that's not a finisher. It was just a 2 count. Especially because Randy Savage is no longer with us, and that was a legit finisher back in the day. The only person I saw ever kick out of that was the Ultimate Warrior. I don't know if he ever had a chance to deliver it to Hulk Hogan. I'm sure Hogan kicked out of it, but let's let finishing moves be finishing moves. I don't care who. Oh, well, here's his finishing move right here. Now he's setting him up for go to sleep, but he got blocked and reversed to a belly to belly. 2 and 2. Hobbs just had like a 2 7/8 on a reversal of the GTS. He delivered a nice belly to belly. Good match. Good match. Look, I'm going to nitpick because when you do the Savage flying elbow, to me, that's it. That's like doing a Jake the Snake DDT. Should be a finisher. I'm just an old school fan like that. Nothing personal. Now Punk is working a sleeper in his own right.
Hobbs has got to get some separation from that forearm off his throat area.
Let's see what happens here.
CM Punk has got Hobbs.
And Hobbs has Hobbs down to 1 knee. And let's see. Hobbs got back up, though, to 2 feet and suplexes Punk out of the sleeper hold. Wow. I don't know. I do not know what time the bell rung, but we're at least 10 to 12 minutes into this match. Good match. Definitely good match, telling a good story, I would say, so far. And there's something about AEW, I'm just so much more compelled to watch it. I don't know if it's like the steady camera angles, but whatever it is, or the overall presentation, maybe the fact that they're not going out there with 50 writers, forcing them to do bad acting, whatever it may be. I am just so much more into this as a wrestling fan than I am what I just watched. And what I just watched wasn't terrible. Again, it was the last half hour, which is going to be their money shot. But now Hobbs on the top rope. Apparently he took too long, and now Punk is back on his feet. He was just on the canvas. Hammering Hobbs in the head. Is Punk going to go for a superplex? What is he going to do? I can't tell. He's setting him up for something. Is he going to do a Hurricanrana? I don't know what he's going to do. He is. Hurricanrana, but it gets blocked. And now he's in shape to get powerbombed. But no, the Hurricanrana does come through. But let's see if that's enough. He's not hooking the leg. Punk did not hook the leg. It was just a 2 count. If he hooked the leg, could have got a 3. We never know. And we got a fan. Sorry, folks. I mean, everything's coming from everywhere now. Now he's going for an armbar. Or did they call it a juji? Looked like an armbar at first. All right. Supposedly Punk has the triangle locked in. We'll see. We shall see what happens. Now Hobbs lifting him up from the canvas. Unbelievable. Strength. I'll tell you what, work or shoot, you got to be strong to lift somebody all the way up when they're tangled in you and get up and lift them up. All the credit in the world to Hobbs for that. That was a good spot. Very, again, I'm not trying to kiss anyone's ass, but good match. I mean, obviously Punk's calling it, if I had to guess. But it's coming across as a shoot. Now they're going back and forth. Let's hear the crowd.
He's got a tough chin. Punk, though.
Now Punk is hammering all the shots. And a nice roundhouse kick to the head. Now Punk is signaling again for going to sleep. Little interference, but Punk reversed the interference. Slammed Hobbs into the other guy. Now he's going to go to sleep. There it is. And that should be it because he hooked the leg. He hit the move and hooked the leg. Isn't it funny? On one show, I'm talking about hitting your move and hooking the leg. On the other show, I'm talking about why are they cutting to this camera angle. That might sum up AEW and the WWE as far as how they're different. But I totally did not expect them to open up with this match. Very good on AEW. They still have an hour and 40 minutes to go. And again, this is like their Clash of the Champions. Very, very awesome. And on that note, I barely have any voice left. I was fucking sick this week. Juice heads. But I did this for you. I love all my juice heads out there. We're going to call it a day. But don't worry. Because I have great news. We will be back tomorrow. I promise you, there would be more shows than just Watch Along or Drink Along on this YouTube channel, and there will be. Tomorrow, we are rebooting the NFL Boycott Club from my previous YouTube channel, and we're bringing it right here to hashtag JGNS2. and it's called Football Players. Because if we're watching it, we're clearly not boycotting it, so that name made no sense in the first place, right? So we'll see you tomorrow for our first episode of Football Players. We'll call it Season 2, Episode 1, and we'll take it from there, Nurse, if you get that reference. Later.